Okay, so before exploring the dynamics of care crisis on the global scale, let's start with a question. What is care work? Feminist scholars in the politics and international studies highlight the care work as a central attribute of women's traditional roles, since women are more often expected to look after children, the sick, disabled, and elderly, as well as to perform other forms of domestic tasks than men. They have long underscored the structural persistence of such unequal gender division of labor in the historical development of capitalist economy and patriarchal institutions as a key to explaining disadvantaged position of the women and exploitative nature of women's work. More specifically, Mahon and Robinson, in our first reading for today, explain that there are two strands of the feminist research on the care work. The first strand of analysis derives from the traditional perception of the care as a basis of ethical practices and values that attend to the relations of interdependence in the human life. This is called the care ethics approach. Second strand regard care as a form of reproduction. So today, due to the limit of time, let me focus on this second strand, which is called the social reproduction approach. Around 17th century Europe, the growing division between the production and social reproduction was required by early capitalism. This historical separation of production from the reproduction has been analyzed under the distinction between the public and private spheres. While public spheres encompass men's paid productive labor in the monetized economy, private sphere account for women's unpaid reproductive work in the household. Feminist scholars have stressed that such dichotomy of public and private operate to naturalize gender division of labor through crafting packages of expectation for the men's and women's role. Among the various ways to conceptualize social reproduction, in our second reading for today, Isabella Bakker provides one of the most comprehensive definitions of the concept. So who is Isabella Bakker? So the Bakker is a distinguished research professor of political science at the York University in Canada. She has been recognized as a leading scholar in the field of feminist international political economy. Bakker defines social reproduction as the social processes and human relations associated with the creation and maintenance of communities upon which all production and exchange rest. Bakker further identifies three main aspects of social reproduction. First, biological reproduction of species. Second, reproduction of labor forces. And third, reproduction and provisioning of caring need. Here, Mahon and Robinson argue that combination of these two approaches, that is to say, care ethics and social reproduction, in the study of care work is vital to designing more inclusive analytical framework that encompass nurturant care and other social reproductive activities. So by employing this broad conceptualization of care work, let's turn our attention to the dynamics of care crisis in the current world. So according to the Onuki in our third reading, the amounting crisis of care on the global scale has become one of the urgent concerns during the last several decades. One dimension of this crisis is the rise of care deficit in the most developed country in the global north, which have been fueled by the so-called feminization of workforce, changing demographic of aging societies, and restructuring of welfare provisioning. Intensified neoliberal reform of labor market and social policies since 1970s have promoted and indeed depended on the progressive incorporation of the women into the workforce. For example, in the US, while women account for 47 of its entire workers in 2014, the labor force participation rate of mothers with children under 18 rose from the 47% in 1975 to 70% in 2014. In Japan, on the other hand, given the rapidly aging population and declining birth rate, it is expected that country will face the acute shortage of care labor. It's projected that country will need 2.5 million care workers in 2025 compared with 1.7 million workers employed in 2013. Escalating need for affordable paid care in the global north has also heightened through the withdrawal of the state from welfare provisioning and a concomitant return of care work to the household where it naturally belongs. Another dimension of global care crisis derives from the care drain from developing country in the global south to the developed country in the north. So the while large group of nurses and doctors from global south have been recruited by the care industry in the north, resurgent infectious disease such as AIDS, Ebola, malaria, now corona, as well as chronic illness and environmental disasters further intensify the shortage of care labor in their home societies. So now let's visualize shortage of care workers in the global south.